Going to get back on the Travler TV this morning, start doing some more work on it. I have a couple of schematics I'm going to be using on this set. I do have a Sam's it's pretty close to this chassis, but not exact. But I have this Beekman Most Often Needed schematic for 1956. Here's the models that it covers, and this is a 412 E5 chassis. So that's it, this one right here, and there's a model 521-115. Circuit pages are exact, so this is a correct schematic here, but I'll still use the Sam's for maybe parts identification, just to confirm that a certain resistor is a certain value or whatever. So first thing I'm going to do this morning is get the tubes and put them on the tube checker, check all of them, and then we'll try to get the power supply working, see if we can get the 5U4 producing some DC voltage, and proceed from there. And as I check each tube, I'll wipe it off before I check it. That way I won't have to handle a dirty tube as I check them. Quite a few to do. This set uses a lot of tubes, so there's a bag there that I need to check. I have 3 tubes that check bad on the checker, so I'm going to test them again just to be sure. A lot of times on these older sets, the tube will check bad on a tester and it would still work somewhat, so I'm not too concerned about replacing them right now. As long as they light up, that's the main thing, and we'll go from there. Well, after checking the 3 tubes again, 2 of them are just questionable. They have some emission. They check kind of in the middle. But this 6C4, you can see here, it's reading shorted. And you check emission, it's replace. So I'm pretty sure it's bad. This is one instance where I wish I had a bigger workbench. You can see this big old chassis takes up a lot of space here. That's why I have the little test tube that I use occasionally. It really comes in handy now. When you got a big chassis like this, it fills the workbench up. Maybe one day I'll have a bigger bench, we'll see. Been thinking about this power transformer deal. Did have to repair it. The winding was opened up, and these really run hot, especially with this 5U4 plugged in on top here. That tube gets super hot, kind of bakes out the transformer. So I'm wondering if I could make a jumper, or make a lead that would plug in here and come over here to the side maybe, and mount a socket for the rectifier tube. Might make the transformer run cooler. Not worried about it right now. Now I'm just interested in trying to get the set to work, but something to think about. Might let that transformer run a lot cooler having that tube mounted somewhere else. But we'll see. So I think my next step, I'm going to check the electrolytics under the board, see if any of them test anywhere close to acceptable for right now. And then I may put the rectifier tube in, see if we can get some B+ out of it, and go from there. Alright, I have my meter here with a cap test mode, and I realize this does not put a lot of voltage on the caps to check them, but it does give you an idea, like if one's completely open or shorted. That baby right there looks like he's about had enough. Really rough looking. But the cap I'm most concerned with right now is this one right here. That's the main filter cap. It's a 2-section that B plus is filtered by. Boy, those leads are sticky under there. Need a lot of cleaning. But anyway, we'll check this one. Both sections of it. Well, both sections of that cap are shot. So I think what I'll do, I'm going to replace both of those. I may stuff these caps, especially this one, because it's a can type that mounts on top of the chassis there. I may stuff them if I get the set working. So I'm just going to clip the wires loose for now and tack a couple of caps in there to attempt to power up here on the power supply. All right, unhook the 2 leads on the main filter cap. Just have a couple pigtailed end down here. So let's give it a smoke test. Probably shouldn't have said that. It's about 60 volts AC. We've got about 175 DC. About right. 5U4 is just barely warm, so that's good. We're still climbing, but keep in mind there's no load on this. So the SAM says 380 volts. That's about 100 volts AC. And that's about 110. So we're close. That'll probably climb up, keep climbing with no load. We're running on up to 115. We got 370 or so. Okay. That's a good first test. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the tubes in. We'll populate the chassis and turn it back on. I will leave the cap loose on the horizontal output tube, but we'll put all the tubes in, turn it back on, have a speaker hooked up, and let's see if we can get at least some noise out of this. Got a little crackling out of the speaker, but not knowing what channel I'm on the tuner, I can't tell if it's working or not. Well, we're producing a little high voltage. Not a lot, but maybe 3,000 or 4,000 volts. B plus is still about 100 volts low, but I'm just bringing it up slowly. There's 300 volts B plus at about 100 volts AC. Pretty close. And we're up to about 7,000 volts now. Don't see any smoke. That's about 105 volts AC. And we're up to 330 on the B plus. And with the B plus at 340, we're at about 9,000 volts. And if I run the line voltage on up, we're up to about 10,000 volts there on high voltage. So let's turn it off and think about our next step here. About the only tube getting pretty warm is the 5U4 rectifier, which it will. Horizontal output tube's just getting a little warm. So that's good. 10,000 volts is normal. So that's what we have. The horizontal circuit is working the way it should. These caps I do plan on changing, of course, but right now the B plus on them is measuring pretty close to normal and really no leakage detected, so I think they'll work for now. Time for me to take another break. Thanks for watching part 2 of the restoration. Stay tuned for the next video when in part 3 we'll continue troubleshooting and trying to get this chassis to work. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel. Thanks.